Oh my gosh. I told you, literally, every time there is something that goes wrong, no matter how much I set up. Hello and welcome. Oh my goodness. Oh, so today we're talking about best copyright tips for 2021. That's right. If you haven't gotten your work copyrighted yet, now is the best time. Well, sometimes that's true. We're going to be talking about that. But before we else, like preface to that, as a fellow entrepreneur and small business owner, we all, it's a struggle. Anybody that says otherwise has never actually been an entrepreneur. We go through ups and downs and arounds, and every month it's a struggle from one moment to the next. And we work, my, we work a lot. Okay. And I'm tired. I'm both excited and tired and everything. Like for instance, I'm excited because right now I am live on Twitch and as well as Facebook and YouTube and all of these different services. I just got approved to go live just yesterday on LinkedIn. So this is my very first LinkedIn live. If you're watching on LinkedIn, thank you. I appreciate it. I welcome. I'm happy to have you here. But when I say I'm tired, we've been dealing with a lot lately in the terms of the pandemic. And I teach online as well. I teach business law at Southwestern Community College. And I have a family. I have 4 children. I have a wife. I have bills. I have gas that needs to be put in the car. I have medicines that need to be picked up. I'm tired. Everybody's tired. And I say this not as though it should be a revelation to anyone, but I say this because we need to be more patient and kind to one another. And when you're tired, there's nothing more frustrating than when you just don't have anything left to give. And then someone comes along and does something to hurt you. So we never know when that is. We don't know that someone's struggling. We don't know how the difficulties and the pains that they're struggling with. And so the reason why I bring this up is because, and I'm actually going to talk about this in a podcast episode that I'm going to publish later. But the reason why I bring this up is because the best thing that you can do is be patient. I know it's hard. I get it. We live in a society where we're constantly bombarded with me, now, mine. That old Daffy Duck, yeah, I know, Looney Tunes, crazy cartoon where he would, crave treasure. And there was one in particular where he'd be like, no, mine, back. And we live in that kind of world right now. Everything is instant. We don't want to wait for it. But the more patient we are with others, the more grace we allow for others, the better the result, the happier we can be. Because sometimes we need that. So maybe next time, you're at a light and the person doesn't go right away when the light turns green. Maybe you don't honk. Maybe you recognize maybe they're lost in thought. I mean, a lot of times they're screwing with their cell phone, which is obnoxious. I understand that. But maybe they're lost in thought because they've had a rough night and they needed to think through something. Maybe your patience is the thing that gets them through the day. A wink, a smile. Okay, maybe not a wink. To brighten their day, to help them. And as entrepreneurs, we're in a unique position to help people that other people aren't. Because we can be more creative with what we're thinking about and what we're doing. So I would encourage you, to be more patient, because inevitably sometime you're going to be tired too. And you're going to want that patience for yourself because you just need it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with being tired, with being, with working hard. I mean, I would say most entrepreneurs I know work hard and work harder than most employees do. Because, like for me, I'm the only one. Everything I do is this, right? I do all the work for this. Nobody helps me. Now, I have help in other areas. I have an amazing wife who occasionally watches these. But she helps me a lot with other things. But the responsibility to get up in the morning and do and work is mine. Right? She can help me with things at home, but she doesn't know the legal stuff. She can't come on here and do my lives for me when I would, do other things in place of it. Not rather, because I really enjoy my lives. I really enjoy speaking with you and getting to know you. And so that brings me to my point of all of this. Just be patient. Be kind to one another, because you never know when that kindness could lead to something amazing. And we're going to talk about that, like I said, with my tactical startup. If you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help small businesses, entrepreneurs, startups, medium businesses build the business of their dreams. So welcome. I'm truly grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to either stop in live or watch this on the replay. If you are watching it on the replay, just know that we go live every Monday through Friday, except for holidays, the occasional I get sick, my kids get sick. Next week, I will not be live on Tuesday because I've got jury duty. And then the following week, I won't be live Monday or Tuesday because I'm moving offices. So if you are tuning in live, there's other videos on my channel that please watch. I would welcome you. I'm excited for you to get to know you, and you get to know me. So thank you. Also, if you have other questions, leave them in the comments. I check them regularly. So if you have questions that I don't cover or something that I could talk about that you would like to listen to, I'm happy to make videos like that. So please leave those comments below and I'll get to them and maybe do a video on them depending on if it's enough requested. So let's go ahead and get started, all right? All right, so intellectual property is one of those ones that either you do it or you don't do it. There's not a whole lot in between. And I get business owners that haven't done it yet. And it can create problems for you later, mainly because if you don't protect your intellectual property, it can have some pretty negative ramifications for you. So number one, use a copyright notice. It's the little round circle with the C in the middle. Use that use a copyright notice. Now that's part of it. That's just the symbol. If you look at my website, thinklegalpc.com, at the very, very bottom, you'll see my copyright notification, and it shows the things that are required on there. And the reason for that is if you don't start, because you have a natural automatic copyright, FYI. Okay. You don't have to register it for you to have a copyright. However, you don't get certain benefits. And we've talked about this in other videos about that registration. We're going to talk about it briefly in this one, but not to the extent that we've talked about it in other ones. So you want to use a copyright notification first and foremost. Number one, it's good habit. Number two, it puts people on notice regularly that the work is being copyrighted or that it is to be copyrighted. And that goes to kind of like a sub point of that. Copyright, you have that right to that intellectual property, just like other people have that right to their intellectual property. Stuff on the internet isn't free. And what do I mean? You can view stuff, but using it as your own, you can't do. It's not free to use just because you feel like it. So you can't just download that perfect image off of a website and then use it on your website because you liked it. This is where you want to make sure you're paying for your stock images if you're using stock images, or shoot your own if you can. Sometimes you can't. I completely understand that. But use stock photos, pay for them, make sure that you're getting the right license for them, because it's not always the right license. If you don't license it correctly, you can still get a copyright infringement claim for it. So make sure you're using the right image or the right usage of it, so that you're not violating the other party's not only copyright, but also the license that they would provide for it. The next thing is, know what you can and cannot copyright. You can't copyright ideas or branding or that type of thing. The only thing you can copyright are original works. Think paintings, sculptures, writings, something that it comes out of your thought, your brain, your whatever it may be. And so, because you can't copyright ideas, like even like some people are like, well, what about a patent? Well, a patent is not an idea. It's typically like a drawing of something. It's a physical product. And so a patent doesn't give you the same protection as a copyright and a trademark. Those are three separate things. Okay. So keep in mind, copyrights are for tangible, artistic, typically works, not ideas or tangible products, like think iPhone, right? All right. So you can only copyright original works. Okay. Next, most people don't know this, and this is why I keep bringing this up, is copyrights are licensable and transferable. So you took that perfect image on that trip to, I don't know, Bali, London. You have a copyright for that. You can license it. Like, so for instance, if you were, okay, I know there's stuff going on in South Africa right now. Okay. That if you took that awesome shot of something and then a news station wanted to use that shot. Now, if you're in the US, again, we'll talk about that in just a second, but you can claim copyright on that and then license it to the different stations to use, or film footage, video footage, whatever it may be, because you have that automatic copyright in the United States. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So, and it is transferable. So you can sell those images. You can sell the copyright to an image. You can license it. You can sell it. There's a lot of options, which is one of the reasons why businesses should use it more, especially smaller businesses. It's an additional revenue source that could help you keep that business afloat when, all else fails, especially if you do it correctly. And that's why it's so important to register your copyrights, which brings me to my next point. Registration is required for litigation. Now, not specifically. You could sue, but you're only allowed to get what are called actual damages, not statutory damages. And that's a big difference. So, for instance, the infringement could be as low as $750 on a statutory damage, but if it's a picture and you're just getting actual damages, then you would only get like $5. Okay. Or something of that nature. So the idea being that you need registration. You need to register your items. And as I spoke about in my other videos, registration is fairly inexpensive. It's anywhere between $25 and $55, depending on the medium, depending on what you're doing. I mean, there's some variations to that as well. But as far as cost goes, it's one of the lesser expensive ways of protecting your intellectual property with a whole lot of return potential for your business. So keep that in mind, that this is a good ROI. It's almost automatically a great ROI, because not only that, but you can also use it later in if you decide to sell your business as part of the business package that would sell. And we'll talk about that when you're selling stuff. So copyright laws vary depending on one country to another. Okay. To go back to that. Just because you have a copyright in the United States doesn't mean that you have a copyright everywhere. So you will need to either copyright it in as many states as possible, but not states, sorry, U.S. countries. The good news is a lot of countries will honor copyrights from other countries. So you need to hire someone to figure out which one's right for you, because it may not seem like the obvious ones. Because if there's that overlap, then that gives you the opportunity to, you're going to copyright your work in these countries and not that country because they already honor copyrights, or whatever it is that works for you. So keep that in mind. That's an important part. So the next one is kind of a little, not controversial, but you need to follow my logic on this one. Copyrights are fixed at the time of creation. So if there's something that you're creating that's ongoing, think blog, okay, something that you're going to produce new content for. Think these videos, okay, that you're going to produce new content for each week, month, day, whatever it is that your content schedule allows. You copyright it, you have that automatic copyright, but the problem is that until you register it, you register your copyright, you can't get that statutory damages, but because it's ongoing, you don't want to copyright it too soon. Like for instance, okay, here's a really good one, a software program. Okay. The code is, you can copyright the code, but you're going to have different versions of it. That's just copyrights. That's just how it works when you're developing code. So you'll have version 1. So you could copyright version 1, but then you're spending money that may or may not happen as well as infringement goes. So then because it's fixed at the time, then you would have to register version 2, so on and so forth until, like for instance, Apple and their operating system, right? So, they're at version 14 or 15 coming out soon. So if you copyright each one, fine, that's great. That's one way of doing it. But as soon as you believe someone is infringing on your copyright because you have an automatic copyright, go look at it from a time perspective. As soon as someone has a copyright, then if you believe someone is infringing on something, rather than registering every version of software, you register the one that they're infringing on before you file suit. So it really depends on the moment as far as what's right. Generally speaking, if something becomes fixed, so we're talking like a sculpture or we're talking other types of things, then you want to do that as soon as you're done with it so that you have the copyright, a painting, that sort of thing, so that you have the copyright automatically. Or not automatically, so that you have the copyright registered all ready to go, because you're not going to change that, right? You're done. You're out. You're finished. So you don't need to worry about copywriting it in that respect. So it's important to know that timing is important, but generally the sooner the better, because then you're able to, there's no question that you've copyrighted your work. So these are just some of the best tips for copywriting your work in 2021. If you have, like I said, if you have questions, comments, please leave them below. I would love to get to know you and help you with your business. If you need to know, we go live Monday through Friday at 11, except for holidays. Have a good one.